Come back and join me. We got some cool stuff to talk about and show off. Wow. So I put the title in there and it was like, uh-oh, I might be an AI bro. And we all know what an AI bro is, right? These cats that are like, oh, AI can do anything. AI can do anything. What about AI? I usually give public talks, public speeches. And when there's people in the room, I'll be saying, this is how the CRM works. This is how this learning management system works. This is how this form tool works. And invariably, somebody's going to put up their hand and go, I'll say, you have a question? And they'll say, yes, how do I optimize this with AI? And that question always comes from somebody who seemingly has no business asking a question about how to optimize something with AI. And it's getting a little bit crazy, right? Like landscapers, plumbers. How do I use AI for that? It's like this blanket question that's everywhere. How in the world do we use AI for that? And then I feel like there's an opportunity. That's a long one. I feel like there's an opportunity. I think it's going to do it again. No, it's done. Today was a day. So over the last few weeks, I've had multiple meetings with a very nice gentleman. His name is Scott. He's very nice. He's professional. He has been pitching me. He's been pitching me on a coaching product. That coaching product basically revolves around this lead magnet idea where you get a business on the phone, on a Zoom call, whatever, and you say, hey, how many purchase orders do you get in a week, right? What's the revenue value of those purchase orders? What is what's your margin on those? What is your cost of goods? What is, how many people do you have working for you? Blah, 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 right? And then based on the answers, this AI tool, so this is one of those things, people goes, how do I use AI for that? Okay, well, this is how I use AI for that. So then you would put that information into the answers to the questions, and then AI measures those answers against some benchmarks and then kicks out a response that says, you're leaving this much money on the table. Right, based on our benchmark information, you're missing out on $1.7 million a year in business and or in profits, right? And this is how. And then it'll break into 5 or 6 modules of what a consultant would train you on, and it unlocks the first module for free. And it says, hey, if you want to do it yourself, here's the first module for free. You can do this yourself if you want. However, there's these 6 other modules, 5 other modules, whatever it is, right? You can buy those modules for $600 and do it yourself, and take a stab at it. Or you could have one of our professional coaches, mentors, consultants, whatever you want to call them, work with you and your team to help you optimize and attain the numbers that are really associated with this report. Now, I thought it was a really cool program, but the way the program worked was it was like a conflict with my existing program. And we did the sample with Power Sport Academy. Power Sport Academy is one of my passion projects. I teach motorcycle dealerships how to increase their service sales. Short and simple, right? But I've got 6 courses that help me do that and a year's worth of training. And it costs $45,000. If you own a dealership and you want me to train your people, you're going to spend $45,000 with me. But it's worth it. It's totally worth the $45,000 because you're going to make $600, $800, $1 million more in departmental revenue. So if you can't spend $45,000 with the expectation you're going to make $600,000 off of it, well, then we're not even in the same ballpark, right? Then you're not my customer. And so having the right lead magnet to filter out who is your customer and who is not your customer is really important. Now, this lead magnet, and I don't see anyone in here live yet, but if you come in live, go ahead, leave a comment, jump in, have the conversation. I'd love to work things out with you. Now, here's what happened to me. I'm doing multiple meetings with this guy. I'm meeting with him like every week, and we're meeting, and he's he's a good salesman and he's professional and the product's clean and it does cool things. And they have like a leadership training thing on the back end of this. And you could buy into their platform and become one of their certified coaches. And yeah, it's cool. But remember, I already have an existing program. I already have an existing platform. I don't need them to give me a business that I can build. I already have a business, right? And so I'm looking for a lead magnet tool that's going to help me. Now, in the power sports area, this is unique. In power sports, businesses are kind of secretive. They don't like to share that they've had, unbridled success. They don't want to jump on the internet and go, my name's Bob and I made an extra $1 million last year. They're just not comfortable doing that. And they don't share it with a lot of their peers in the space. Like they're not going to go, hey, I work with Kurt. He's amazing. We got an extra $600,000 in revenue this year. Like they're not going to say that, right? They're like hoarding. They're going to hold that to themselves. They're a little more old school in that space. And so we're not getting a ton of referrals either. Just to be honest with you, we've helped multiple dealerships, boom, over the $1 million mark with increased revenue. And then when I say, hey, could you give me a video testimonials talking about your successes? Almost bar none, they're like, I'm just not comfortable with that right now. And in some ways I get it. But if you know me, if you follow me, you know that I'm on like 5 podcasts a week. I'm very transparent about business, what happens, what works, what doesn't work. And I'll be very transparent in that a lot of what we did here did not work. A lot of what we did in the Power Sport Academy did not work. I misjudged who I was selling the courses to. I was selling it to the owners, not to the service managers. So I had to change my marketing there. I was selling it too cheap, so I had to raise the price. But I know, I said 45 grand sounds like a lot, right? It's got to be painful or the dealers won't sign up for it. Or if it's cheap and they do sign up for it, they won't commit to it. It needs to be painful, right? So the service manager probably doesn't want to come to the training and the owner pays for it, right? Well, then the service writer and service manager, they start missing training sessions or they don't do their homework on time or something happens. If the owner paid 10 grand for the training, it's like, well, cost us 10 grand. We tried, it didn't work, right? But if they pay 45 grand for the training, dude, I paid 45 grand for this. You're going to go to the stupid meeting. I paid 45 grand for this. Do your freaking homework because I'm tired of this guy emailing me saying you won't do your homework. Like, because it's more painful in cost, we get better performance and we get better clients. So I want to be like super clear. Like there's a reason why things are the way they are, but getting those clients has been a little more difficult. So let me tell you what I did. I jumped into a thing called Magi. And this is where I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit for you guys. Like when I'm like, I'm an AI bro. I don't want to just tell you like I snapped my fingers and AI made it and now I'm a genius. Like that's so, there is no quality in that. There is no integrity in that. I think the integrity is in showing you what I've really worked on. Okay, so I'm going to open up a screen share here. We're going to go to Magi. Magi is my particular AI of choice. Okay, so let me come back to this screen. I'm going to put this up. You know what? I'm going to let me get rid of this for you. There we go. So you can actually see the screen. And I'm going to go all the way to the top of this thing. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to switch these around and I'm going to make this bigger for you. Okay. So if you can follow along, that's great. And if you are like, hey, this is too much. I don't want to do this right now. Bookmark it. Come back to it later. Like I want you to see how this stuff works. Now in this instance, I'm using Claude. So I'm going to put that. No, I don't want that there because I'm doing a screen share. Duh. So I put here, I was given a tour of a website recently, which I will paste at the bottom of this text. The tour of the website was a demo that showed how AI could be used to leverage a series of questions about a business and then provide 4 or 5 major modules of breakout for consultation focused on growing that business. Okay, so I'm telling AI exactly what I want to do. Like, this is what I want to build. For example, if I was talking about a motorcycle dealership, I would ask, how many units a month do you sell? What's your margin? What's your gross profit? What's your net profit? And how many people do you have employed? From the answers to those questions, AI would generate 4 or 5 modules of focused work to focus on the growth of that business. And each of those modules would be sold as a consultation package. Here's the main sentence. I want to create something similar to that for Mañana No Mas and the Powersport Academy. The link to the site's demo is here. So I'm letting AI see exactly what I saw, and I'm telling them what I want to build that's a little bit different. I think I'm being pretty specific. Now, Claude goes through a bunch of stuff, right? It searches this, it searches that, it looks at a couple of things. You can see it's thinking. So when I'm in Magi, it's telling me what it's thinking, and then what it's thinking goes away and its answer pops up. So it says, got it. Looked in the Path to Profit AI model. By the way, Path to Profit AI. If you don't want to build your own stuff and you're really interested in like a coaching setup or something like that, these folks are great. And if you want a connection with Scott, just reach out to me. I'll connect you and Scott together. I thought he was a great guy. I thought the product was amazing. There was a lot of things I really loved about it. But what I talked to him about yesterday was that as cool as what you have is, I keep trying to find alignment with it, with what my business is already set up to do. And in order for me to use your product, I would basically have to refactor my existing product. And I don't want to have to refactor the whole thing from scratch. I've already put over 1,000 hours into it. And so it's not a good product market fit for me. But I want to be clear. I thought that their model was really great. If you're a coach, consultant kind of person and you're looking for a viable way to grow, scale, any of that, I think they're a really good solution, and it's already pre-built, ready to go. You don't have to be a genius and figure it all out because they already did. Like I said, if you want an introduction to Scott, let me know. I don't get paid anything, just to be clear. This is just me trying to help, okay? I don't get paid anything. I don't get commissions, none of that crap. But I thought he was a really solid dude, and I don't mind referring him, okay? So I looked in the Path to Profit AI model. It's a white label AI diagnostic system, a short intake questionnaire. Yep. Feeds an AI engine that segments the business into 4 to 5 growth modules. Yep. Each of which becomes a standalone paid consulting package. It's essentially a lead qualification and upsell engine disguised as a free diagnostic. That's correct. Absolutely correct. Okay. Building the equivalent for Mañana No Mas or Powersport Academy is very doable. Now, I'm not asking for the equivalent. I did ask for some things that were different, right? And so it says, I can design the design logic, the module framework, and even build it as a live conversational tool, a Magi agent. Magi allows me to have agents so that I can use it as a tool to do like ongoing repetitive things. Or a document canvas blueprint you hand to a developer, but I need a few specifics. Now, I let it play this game for a little while, but I said I didn't want to get a developer at the bottom, okay? So he wants to know, what does Mañana No Mas and Powersports Academy do? Who is the end user? Do you have a set intake question in mind? Do you already have candidate modules and packages? Like, do I already have stuff? What's the deliverable you want from me right now? Okay, so I answer it. I want to treat them separately. Let's do Powersport Academy first. So I'm going to build this lead magnet for the Powersport Academy. This is what's in my head. Okay, this is what I'm trying to get in my head onto the page. So I don't want to talk about Mañana No Mas right now. Like, I want to see if I can make this work for the Powersport Academy. If this works for the Powersport Academy, I could probably build something really cool for Mañana No Mas then, right? Because we do enterprise level e-learning websites and startups and e-commerce and stuff. So I'm just thinking out loud, like, if I wanted to build something for Mañana No Mas, I'd put a little more thought into it, but it would be like, for an enterprise learning client, like, how do we save you $300,000 a year, right? Boom, like, that's good money. So anyway, let's stay focused here. I want to treat them separately. Let's do Powersport Academy first. And I go and I tell it exactly what Powersport Academy is. This business is a consultation and coaching program for motorcycle dealerships, largely focused on fixed operations and after sales. We provide 6 static courses, but incorporate homework, review, and live coaching to work teams through the program. The term of this training is sold in 1-year increments. I want the AI to know how long it takes to get through the training. 1-year increments, and we provide a social tool for students to communicate with each other as well. My attraction to the AI lead magnet is helping dealer owners visualize the results of training will give them and the members of their team. Honestly, our sales are not very good. I'm going to tell AI right now, like, sales aren't good. I got to grow, right? At first, we were too cheap and the value was not conveyed. As we rose the price, interest increased. We have had success stories, and our clients generally increase business revenue by at least 55%. Think about how huge that is. If a company does $3 million a year in service revenue and they take our training, they know that they're going to do $4.5 million next year. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. And it's 45 grand. So it's totally worth the cost of entry, right? But teaching dealers that to make the right decision, that's the challenge. So that's what we're trying to convey here. It says, however, the business owners are very reticent to share their success publicly. This has made referral business very hard to secure. My hope is that this tool can help make up for what we lose due to corporate secrecy at the dealer owner level. Boom. And a link to my website. I want it to be able to review my whole website and see what the existing messaging already is. Boom. That's a great use case. I can already see fits so well here. AI is always going to kiss your butt, right? It says that this thing's not magic, right? But it's a personalized, private, this is what your dealership is leaving on the table moment. That's a perfect workaround for the corporate secrecy problem you described. Here's a first draft framework for a Powersport Academy diagnostic built around fixed ops and after sales. Diagnostic intake questions. Here are the questions it wants to ask. And this is just to start with, right? This is what it thinks. Like, so it's going to ask people, what do you want to do with it? And then what do you want to do? Like, what are these questions about your business, right? Boom. First off, what's your business? And then what the AI does with it. The AI compares it to standards, right? So some kind of standards. So it says it benchmarks answers against Powersport's fixed operation industry norms. And then the proposed modules. Now it says it's going to map to a sellable consultation path. This is important. I already have 6 pre-done courses in the Powersport Academy. I am selling training that's already made. This is not custom consultation. We have live consultation sessions. We do some live consultation. We do some coaching, but it's all based on the static 6 courses. So I don't want this thing to advertise like, hey, we're going to come in and whip up a custom program for you. No, but I want to direct people to pre-existing programs. I know that might sound fishy, right? It might sound like I'm being too finite, like I'm being too picky. But I think that's a really important piece of discernment. Okay. So it says I drafted these around some common fixed ops pain points, but these should map to your actual 6 courses. Perfect. It gave us 6 pain points. It's what the output's going to be. Your dealership is leaving an estimated something dollars a month on the table in fixed ops. A ranked list of 2 to 3 modules. Boom. A projected 12-month ROI if they enroll, and then a call to action. Right. So what's the call to action? We're building a lead magnet, and we want a call to action. What do we want them to do? We want them to schedule a meeting. That's it. Schedule a meeting. Let's go over your results. It says, what are your actual 6 course titles and topics? Right. Because it's asking me, what are your topics? Do you have real benchmark numbers, or should we use our own? And how do you want this delivered? Like, do I want this to be a Magi agent, or do I want to make this a document I can give to a developer? So as first I give it the names of the 6 courses and a short description of each course. And then I say, then it says, excellent. That curriculum actually maps beautifully into the diagnostic. Again, AI basically always affirms you, right? It's going to tell you that you're smart. So it gives me that. And then it says course to symptom mapping. So what were the 6 symptoms that are real common in dealerships, and how does that get triggered? Okay. What are the symptoms or the recommendations, the modules, and how do those modules get triggered for recommendation? Boom. Now here we go. Now building a Magi agent works with a shareable link. It built the agent for me. It's already in my AI platform. If I were to go to account and go to, I think it's in Kurt's workspace. I think, no, it's not there. It's agents. So if I go out to chats, I'll show you in a little bit. Anyway, the agent's in here. The agent's in Magi, but it doesn't work. Okay. This is the part about being like an AI bruh, right? So AI bros are always like, all you got to do is ask AI, lickety split, boom, snap, crackle, pop, bam. There you go. I'm a genius. No, that's not how this crap worked. It said, I'm going to build you this agent. I said, great, build me the agent. It's going to give me a shareable link. I said, great. It said, why don't you test the link? I test the link and it says, sign into Magi. Well, my leads can't sign into Magi. They're not team members on my Magi account. So now they don't get to see it anyway. And when you go to the agent in Magi, it doesn't come up the way it was built. It comes up like a chat window. Like, I'm not looking for a chat window. I'm looking for like an app. I'm looking for something that works, right? And so it didn't work. And so it said all this stuff, right? A few refinements, change your booking link, change your benchmarks, do a test run, blah, blah, blah. I said, boom. Oh, no. It said, what is your confirmed booking link? I said, my booking link is this. It said, great. We changed it and we updated the agent. That's great. Update applied. Perfect. Still open before, right? Real benchmarks and test run. And so then I put in Magi, you can find and manage your agents like this. I said, how do I find the agent? Where is the thing? I couldn't find it because I thought agents were supposed to be over here on the left menu, but they're not there. They're actually part of the chat window now, which is why I couldn't show it to you just a minute ago. So I was like, where the hell is it? Because I thought it used to be on the left, but it's not there. So I'm like, where are the agents at? And so it says, oh, look for agents over here, which is wrong. Try this. That's wrong. Anyway, I found it. And then I tested it and it didn't work. Okay, so here are my 2 agents so far. Open the agent section. That didn't work, right? And then I put here, I went to an incognito tab and I tried the link provided for the agent. It went to the Magi login screen and asked me to log in and add it to a workspace. I added it to the PowerSport Academy workspace in Magi. I tried it again and it cycled back to Magi. I thought this link would allow visitors to get through the agent process. I was intending to test it and link it to the PowerSport Academy site as a lead magnet button. Like, I just want a button that says, what's in it for you? Click the button, answer some questions. You can make an extra 600 grand this year. That's what I want this thing to be. Do you want to make an extra 600 grand a year? Click this button. I'll tell you how. Like, I literally want it to work like that. And that's not the way that it was working. Okay. So Claude says, hey, that's a good catch. That's a good catch, buddy. That's an important distinction. And I want to give you an accurate answer rather than guess. Let me check what's actually possible with Magi's agent sharing. And it actually goes through the whole thing and says, this is what's happening. This is what we'd recommend, blah, 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 right? It says if Magi doesn't support anonymous public access, which they don't, rebuild the same logic as a standalone tool outside Magi. Well, I want you to build the tool. I don't want to build the tool. A simple web form, chat, widget, type form. I'm like, what's happening here? Like, now you're telling me to go build something in a form tool? I'm not looking to, this was supposed to be simple, right? That's what I'm thinking to myself. This was supposed to be simple. Let me come back to the live screen page and see if anyone's in here with comments yet. Nobody's here with comments yet. Boy, I sure hope people watch the replay. No one came to the live. So let me go back to Magi. There we are. It said to use a form tool. In the meantime, the Magi agent is still useful as an internal tool. No, it's not. You demo it live on discovery calls or send the link directly to a dealer owner and ask them to create a free account to try it. I don't know. I didn't try that. Maybe that works. I don't know. But when I use the link to go to the agent, it opens up a chat window with that agent, but it doesn't launch a series of questions that tells people what to answer and get the results. That's what I was looking for, right? I was looking for a lead magnet. I wasn't looking for a chat window. And I'm not looking to buy a bunch of like free AI consultation for a bunch of dealers I don't know either. I don't want to give them access to an open window and let them start just chatting away on my credits. So I wasn't too thrilled about that. It says in the meantime, right? Oh, here it is. Want me to package the diagnostic logic, question scoring, module mapping, report copy into a clean spec document right now so you can hand it to a developer or a no-code tool like Typeform, Tally, VoiceFlow for a pure public embed. Now, I don't want to do that. I'm a digital agency, right? I have a hosting package. I put, boom, I have a hosting account on 20i. Like, boom, I have a hosting account on 20. Is this something you can build out for me without needing a developer? That's the whole idea using Claude, right? All these AI bros are like, oh yeah, I just told it this and I one shot it and off it went. I would love to tell you this was a one shot deal. Now, what works is like the one shot was it gave me a couple of files, I uploaded them and they worked. That's the one shot. But you can see this whole interaction here is not a one shot. If you don't read between the lines when this thing answers you, you're going to run off and do all kinds of weird extraneous things. You're going to go down all kinds of rabbit trails trying to get your answer, trying to get your outcome, but your outcome comes from asking a better question. So in this case, my better question was, whoa, hold up. I have an account at 20i. Like, is this something you can just build for me without needing a developer? You know, I'm not looking for a package to go out and hire somebody. Remember, I told you it was $5,000 to join that coaching thing, right? That I mentioned at the beginning of the show. That was $5,000. All right. I don't want to pay somebody $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 to code something up for me that I think I could do pretty quickly. Okay. So look at this. Claude comes back. Yes. This is absolutely something I can build for you directly, and it doesn't require a developer. Then why did you try to get me to hire one sentence ago? Here's the honest breakdown of what's possible and what I'll build. The plan. I'm going to build you an HTML page and a small PHP file. Boom, right? You'll upload both to the file manager. Boom, what I built. 11 question diagnostic, lead capture step, live dollar opportunity calculations, ranked course recommendations, a call to action button, and a dark style that matches your website's aesthetic. So here's what I did. I was going to make this a subdomain in 20i. This is another one of those. Let me come back here. Let me bring this back up here. There we go. I was going to make this a subdomain in 20i. I was going to say, hey, boom, dealergaps.powersportacademy.com. Boom, put the app in there and then just link it to the subdomain, right? Like, boom, I was just going to make this thing happen. So I build the subdomain and then the subdomain doesn't go anywhere. Like what? Where? How do I get the subdomain to point to a new set of files? I'm not trying to build another WordPress. I'm just trying to add 2 files to a subdomain. That's all. That's what the directions said, right? Get a domain, and it didn't say get a domain. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it was like in your hosting account, right? Which would mean affiliated with a domain. Load these 2 files up. Bob's your uncle. You're good. Well, turns out if you have a WordPress package in 20i and you create a subdomain to that WordPress package, it just routes back to the main page. That to me sounds like the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. Like if I'm in a Linux server at 20i, I can make that subdomain point to anything I want, right? I can point to these files, those files, a WordPress package, a photo gallery, I can a shopping cart, a library, like I can do whatever I want with that subdomain. If I have a WordPress site in 20i and I create a subdomain, I don't get to pick the root folder for that subdomain. Now, maybe there's some back-end way to do this, right? I'm sure some developer is going to jump on and go, Kurt, you're a moron. All you got to do is, go into these settings or blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, from the front end, there's no way to do it. And then I searched it up on 20i and it confirmed. It said, yes, if you have a WordPress-based domain and you add a subdomain, you do not get to pick the root folder for that subdomain. It just routes back to the main domain. Well, so that's not what I want. Okay. So then I said, okay, let me just pick a Linux server, a Linux hosting package within my 20i account that'll allow me to do that. I'm going to tell you, picking a Linux server sounds easy, wasn't easy. I had to actually figure it out again, right? I had to figure out how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make it selectable? So I would add the hosting package, I would type in the domain I want to use, and then it didn't do it. Linux was not selectable. And so I had to configure a hosting package. So I had to go back to configure hosting packages and add Linux as one of my account's options to select. Okay. So previously, I guess I had made it all WordPress and Linux was on the screen, but it wasn't activated. So I had to go and configure a Linux hosting package option and add that to my existing hosting account. Okay. So then I went to, and I picked dealergap.com. That's what I wanted, was dealergap.com. Well, because I had tried it earlier as a subdomain and remapped it and all kinds of things, I had already started playing with dealergap.com. It wouldn't let me create the hosting package. So I had to go and delete everything in my account that referenced dealergap.com. Then I had to register the domain dealergap.com. Then I created a hosting package in Linux on dealergap.com. Okay. That was a lot of talking, but that's where I got with that. Okay. So it's dealergaps.com. So here comes the interesting part. I'm going to go into, I'm going into the file manager, and I just want to make sure there's nothing. Okay, yeah, there's nothing in here that I think is sensitive. So I'm going to share this tab instead. I go in there and I go to public HTML, and it gave me two files. It gave me a long title that I renamed index.html, right? So it gave me a long tail name of a file, and I renamed that index.html. It used to be called, oh crud, what was it called? If I look here, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Anyway, it was long. It would have said like magi.html.magi.html.index. something something. It like went on and on. I renamed it index.html, loaded that up, and then I loaded up this submit PHP. Now, where did these come from? I'm going to take you back to Magi. And I'm going to go back and make Magi big. Okay. I left the 20i stuff small, just to be honest with you. I get nervous. I shouldn't, maybe sharing things in the back end of my hosting account is probably not the smartest thing ever to do on the internet. I don't think there's anything sensitive in there, but it's like, well, what if something was visible? Okay. So here we go. If we go into Magi, it created these two, they call them, now I forget what that's called. They're documents. They're documents. A canvas. That's what they call it. They call it a canvas. So here is what the index HTML previews as. Okay. And then I can download that. So I can download the HTML file. If I click download, you're going to see it says download code, right? I can download it. I can copy it. I can print it. Printing would be silly, right? I can upload. I can do all kinds of things. But here's what it's going to look like. Unlock what your service department is leaving on the table. Answer 11 quick questions about your fixed operations. In under 3 minutes, you'll get a personalized estimate of your monthly revenue opportunity and which training modules will close the gap fastest. Start my diagnostic. Boom. Now, I don't think, well, we could try it. Does it work? It does work. Look at that. You could actually try it right in the window. I copied that whole thing and used it, okay? Let me show you what's next. Next is going to be the submit. So in the submit, we have an email address that we need to change. So it had a sample email address in here, and I had to change it to success@powersportacademy.com, right? Because I want people to get that, okay? And it sends me an email, says new fixed ops diagnostic lead. Boom, isn't that cool? And then all this code is here. So what do I do with this, right? With this, I copy it and I put it into a text file and I save it as a, now it came out, I was using the text tool in Mac. So it saved it as an RTF, but I just renamed it, right? I renamed it .php. And it said, do you really want to name this .php? And I said, yes. So I saved those 2 files, and those 2 files are right here, index.html and submit.php. I loaded those up. Okay, that's already done. So now if we go here, you're going to see dealergaps.com now works. So if we go deal, and by the way, it's going to take like another half hour for the security to come over this. I just made it. So I added the certificate. It'll pop up. Never mind. Here we go. Now I'm on the right tab. So right here it says not secure. It'll say secure in 30 minutes or less, right? Dealergaps.com. So we already read this part. Start my diagnostic. So how many repair orders do you do? We'll say 225 a month. Okay. What's your current effective labor rate? I'm going to say 173. What's your monthly parts department revenue? I'm going to say $185,000. What's your service department's gross profit margin? Right? I'm going to say 30. No, I'm going to say 36. Okay. 36%. What is your fixed ops department's monthly net profit? And so remember, net is after all expenses, right? And it could be negative. For a lot of shops, it's negative. I'm going to say $14,000. So after paying salaries and utilities and all that stuff, they net $14,000. Okay, so I'm going to say next. How many technicians and service advisors do you currently employ? So maybe it's 3 technicians, 1 service writer, right? So I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say next. What is the average tenure in months of your service team members? They have a lot of turnover. So I'm going to say 28 months, right? A little bit over 2 years, people leave. Does your team track KPIs? I'm going to say no. Okay. Most dealers don't. Believe it or not, KPI is a key performance indicator in business terms, and a lot of dealers don't. I'm going to say no. Boom. How would you rate your team's phone and upsell skills? I'm going to give them a 3. How would you rate your dealership's online reputation? I'm going to give them a 3. How many total units did you sell last month? I'm going to say 125, right? Meaning 125 motorcycles. They could be UTVs, jet skis, motorcycles, lawnmowers. I don't care. But how many total units, new and used, did they sell? It's going to be in the 125 range, right? We're going to say next. Okay, now you put in your name. So I'm going to say that my name is Jimmy Curtis. That's my alias, Jimmy Curtis. And you all know me as Kurt Von Onen, but we're going to say Bop Jimmy at gmail.com. So that way I know what's going on, right? Dealership name, I'm going to say Mañana No Mas, and there's my phone number. Okay. Get my report. Boom. Mañana No Mas's Fixed Ops Growth Report. Now remember, that's what I used as my company name. So whatever the company name is, that's going to be there. So if it was Jim's BMW, it's going to say Jim's BMW's Fixed Ops Growth Report. Okay. Based on your answers, here's what your service department could be leaving on the table. $77,000 a month. That's $934,000 a year. Remember when I told you that the numbers were big? Like those are big numbers. And so when they see that they could go through some training and come up with almost $1 million a year, when they get down to the bottom of this and it's 45 grand for the training for your whole team, it really seems worth it. Like if I spend this 45 grand, even if I got half of this, it would be, a 10x experience if I was going to steal some words from Grant Cardone. It'd be a 10x experience. Okay. So here's what it says. Recommended training path, Power Sports Fixed Operations, your foundational pillar course. Covers service writers, managers, lead techs, objections, needs-based sales, efficiency, and team building. KPIs. You're not currently tracking the numbers that drive fixed ops profitability. This closes that visibility gap. Phone and sales etiquette. Your self-rated phone and upsell skills indicate missed revenue on every incoming call. That's huge. We have a course that we teach the basics of using a phone as an effective sales tool. Customer retention, your website, social presence, and facility perception. Score suggests customers may not see your full value before they arrive. Okay. And if they like what they see here, they can book a 30-minute call with me. And I'll say, share this tab instead. And this is where they book the call. email, name, phone number, click to schedule the appointment, pick the date that you want. Is there anything else you want to add? Put in your company name, submit. Boom, done. Let's go back. Let's go here. Everything that I just ran through for you in the I may be an AI bro, right? That took me 2.5, 3 hours. Now I understand AI bros are like, hey, I spent 8 minutes on this and I one shot it and I'm going to make $1 million. Folks, I can't even wrap my head around that kind of thinking. Like, I think AI is great. I think AI is helping us be more efficient, more effective, maybe a little more creative. And based on what I told you at the beginning of this call, it's not even creative for me. I copied someone else's idea. Someone tried to pitch me something. Does this lead magnet do exactly what somebody pitched me for? No, because what they pitched me on, I thought was a great product. And if there would have been product market fit, I probably would have bought it. Like, I probably would have given them the $5,000. But it wasn't a good product market fit the way that it was set up. The way this works, is set up perfectly to recommend my pre-existing business setup for this project. Okay. So now that you see the way that that worked, you can see how I'd want to build that lead magnet in similar but different ways for my different projects. So I have the Pedal Academy, I have WP Agency Academy, I have Sunflower Launch, I have Mañana No Mas. All of that makes sense. Like, I can build these tools, I can load them up to their own URL, and they just run on their own, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tool and I'm going to make a button for it on the PowerSport Academy website, and I'm going to just have a big button that says, "What's in it for me?" Right? What's in it for me? Question mark. Click that button, and that's going to open up, and it's going to say, because the heading to the website already says, let's pick $500,000 up off the floor. If I go to PowerSport Academy, and I share this tab, it says unlock $500,000. I mean, that's what it says right on the number one heading, unlock $500,000. And so then I'm going to go into and say, what's in it for me? Right? What's in it for me? Click the button. Boom. Fill out the questionnaire, 11 questions, $900,000. Like, you're sitting on 900 grand. Do you want to get the 900 grand or not? If you want to get the 900 grand, I'm here to help you. I'm here to show you and your team how to do it. If you think you're doing good enough and you don't need that 900 grand, that's fine too. That's fine too. But I wanted to let you know what you were leaving on the table. Now, the benchmarks that I've chosen for the tool are actually conservative. They're not reaching for the sky. And so when you see, like in that last example, that business would have gone up over $900,000 in parts and labor sales. Based on real numbers, based on what really happens, it's going to be more like $1.4, $1.5 million. And so I wanted to pick conservative numbers because even with conservative numbers, it looks like they can expect huge growth. And then our goal, of course, is to exceed expectations and overcome that number substantially. So there's a lot of reasons I do things the way that I do, but that's it in a nutshell. And so we say to ourselves, like, I don't like AI, it's stealing our jobs. AI is coming for all of us, right? Data centers or blah, 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 right? So we have this one doomsday kind of doomsday kind of thinking. But I just showed you, and I'm not, so I want to be really clear, I'm not an AI bruh. I like to play with AI a little bit, like I know enough to be dangerous, I know enough to get hurt. You'll notice that what I built today, I didn't build a tool and embed it directly into a live website, right? And part of my problem, part of my obstacle in this, what I just shared with you, is that I didn't do that, right? Like I could have said, oh, I want to take these files and just put them in a page on a live website and see what happens. I think that's just flying wild, right? I just think that's crazy. For me, I'm like, hey, let's just create a separate hosting package, something that's isolated. Let's put those files in there as a test. Let's test the outcome. Let's test the product that we've got, and let's see what we get. And I think, and if you're just coming in now, you're going to want to watch the replay, because now I'm seeing people show up live numbers, right? I'm seeing the numbers start to tick up. If you're just coming in now, you're going to want to watch the replay and see what we built here today. I'll rehash it super, super quick, like 2 sentences. Somebody tried to sell me an AI lead magnet tool, and instead I decided to build one. And because I'm not a coder, I used Claude, and I showed you exactly how I talked to Claude, how I built it, how I implemented it, and then how I tested it. And so a good way to test this new product that I just built is to go to dealergaps.com. Dealergaps.com. It just asks questions and then gives somebody an answer at the end, and it creates a lead. That lead gets emailed to my email, right? So it does a few things. It sends an email to my email that tells me that there's been a lead form submitted, right? So that's great. It gives me the results of that lead report, which is great. And then it also gives the potential customer my booking link so that they can book a meeting with me. And then when we have that meeting, I'm going to have their report and their results right in front of me. So I'm going to be able to say, oh, hey, it looks like our AI tool recommended, the main course to you, along with 2 other courses and some training. We have this available as a package. What we do for dealers on a team basis is we sign them up for a year. We give them access to all of our courses. We've got 6 courses, so we'll actually be able to teach you more than what the outcome was on your test. And, for $45,000, it looks like you could, make a small investment in your company and get back almost $1 million, right? And that becomes the sales process, rather than struggling with what I said I was struggling with before at the beginning of the call. So I'm going to give this another minute or so. If anyone that's here live has any questions or comments or anything like that, or if you want me to throw the screen share back up for dealergaps.com and show you what we built, I can certainly do that. In fact, here it is. This is the website that we have the training on. So this is, why choose the Powersport Academy for training, comprehensive training for dealer success. I mean, this is a standard like LMS sales training website. This is pretty standard, right? We're going to say the program, right? The membership catalog, the course catalog. And so like if we click on membership catalog, for example, it's going to go to a list of potential memberships. And if we go to coaching packages for team, this is where you're going to see the $45,000 price mark, right? $44,959. Commit and grow, or you could do it for $4,000 a month if you just want to go month by month. I know it sounds high. I know to some people watching this, you're going to say, that sounds like a lot of money. But when we're talking about enterprise level corporate training, we're not talking about learning how to knit or how to play the guitar. We're talking about adding $1 million to your revenue every year through your business. And so, yeah, there's the fees are commensurate with the results. So that's all there, okay? What we built as the lead magnet was dealergaps.com. And you'll see that it comes up super, super quick because it's not WordPress. There's not a lot of baggage. It's just a PHP file and an HTML file. That's it, right? And it just goes right into Start My Diagnostic. It asks 11 questions, and at the end, it gives you a report. Works out. We just went through it. It works. You guys tell me. Do you think it works well? Right? Like I would love to have your. Let me remove that, put that back up there. I would love to have your feedback. Hey, big man. Now I'm embarrassed because I'm not sure who this is. Usually I know people by their names, but now I'm like, uh-oh, who is this? And it says that you're proud of me. You know what? I appreciate it. I appreciate it tons. You're going to have to let me know who you are. It's probably Adam. So anyway, come in here with your comments, questions. I am all in for this one. I am the one that's been on podcast. I'm on like 5 podcasts a week, and I've been saying for the last 3 years that I think AI is overrated. I think too many people are getting too dependent on AI. Too many people don't know how things really work. Um, you don't know me, don't worry. All right, cool. Well, sweet. And I've been very reticent to adopt AI in that way. Now, I've used AI a ton in my business. I've used it a ton. Like it helps with copy, helps with writing courses. It helps with auditing courses, right? Like, hey, I just wrote this course. Can you tell me what glaring items I'm missing, right? Because that happens a lot. As an expert in something, you think you know what people need to know. You think people need to know what you know. But here's the problem. As an expert, you probably forgot part of what you know. And so when you start training new people, you start at a level that's here, but they really need to be down here. And so I find that AI is a great tool to audit your learning, because then you can say, here's a course that I wrote that teaches people how to knit. Here's a course I wrote that teaches people how to fix cars. What glaring omissions do I have in my curriculum? And like for fixing cars, for example, it might say, yeah, you didn't tell people how to use, a multimeter. Like if you're a seasoned technician, you assume everybody knows how to use a multimeter. So you're going to say in your training, you're going to say, hey, grab that oxygen sensor and bench test it to make sure that it's, within 1 or 2 ohms of whatever. And to a newbie to the field that's doing the training, they're going to go, well, how do I ohm test something with a multimeter? And so AI is a really good tool for auditing your learning. So you can go in and say, what glaring omissions do I have? So that's the way that I've used AI quite a bit. I've used AI to help me, like I wrote and published a book, and I said, here's a book that I wrote. Tell me what I missed, or tell me based on these 4 websites that I own, do you feel that there's any stories or articles in these websites that should be mentioned or duplicated in this printed work? And then AI would take all of that, right? It would jumble it all up and go, oh, hey, you had a really great story about, traveling to Ferrara and what you experienced there. That would be a good, injected story for paragraph 6. And so I find that AI is a really good tool for that. Now, for AI to jump in for me and build some app that I'm going to put on the internet and use as a marketing tool, that's new. That's a new thing for me. And I see more and more people doing it. And I'm thinking to myself, in a world where, and this was like in the meeting notes, this was like what I said in the meeting notes to get people interested to come here. So let's get to the crux of this. In a world where software is basically free, in a world where we can go to AI and say, hey, build me this quick tool, what makes the difference between a tool you would purchase versus a tool you would build? And I think this is a really great question, and I want to lay this out for people. And if anyone watches this to the end and you want to give a comment or let me know what your thoughts are, I would love to hear it, because I talk to a lot of agencies on an ongoing basis. And so I'm really curious to know, in a world where software's free, what makes you think that you want to pay for something versus build something? And I can give you a real life example. I got up this morning. I build a lot of dynamic, interactive, big websites, right? I just build a lot of these things, like enterprise level learning systems. And for the most part, I use Fluent CRM, Fluent Form, Fluent Booking, Fluent Support. Like I have this tech stack that I use that I'm very comfortable with. BitApps has been putting out a lot of marketing, at least directed at me, about their latest CRM tool. Now, Fluent CRM's CRM tool is like an email marketing and automation tool. Important, an important discernment, right? An important distinction. It is an email marketing and automation tool. It is not a sales CRM. And I don't know what just happened. My camera just, did I do that? Okay, that's unique. My camera stopped. Maybe I'm back. So, Building your own apps is always better than, here we go. Building your own apps is always better than relying on a third party. Here's where I want to push back on this a little bit. I want to explain this. I could buy a lifetime. On my side, the camera's frozen. I don't know why the camera's frozen. It's like I'm going to disable it. I'm going to re-enable it. I don't know why it's doing it. Anyway, maybe you can still hear me. Yeah, it is freezed. It's weird. Like I put my hand up and then it went away. Let's try. I'm trying a couple things. Hang on. All right. And I'm waiting for my camera to come back. We'll see what happens. Settings, audio, camera. We might have to end this one, folks. Anyway, I'll finish up here with vocals here for just a moment. I bought the unlimited website lifetime deal on BitApps this morning for the CRM because it's already built. It has support, unlimited websites. It's already built. It's a giant plugin. It does a ton of things. Sales pipelines, calendars, contacts. It does all kinds of stuff. I love that you can still hear me. And I'm gonna close this down pretty quickly now that the camera's taking a dump on me. But I would pay for that. It was $300. It's $300. I'll pay for that. My agency rate is $190 an hour. That means if I spend 2 hours building a CRM app, I've already lost money. Like, I just want to put that into perspective. Like, why would I buy something from a third party? Why am I such a fan of Lifter LMS? Lifter LMS Infinity Bundle is $1,500 a year. People go, oh my God, $1,500 a year. $1,500 a year, unlimited websites, all of the add-ons. And if I build one enterprise level e-learning website, if I build just one website, I'm going to make $60,000, $70,000 doing that. So paying $1,500 for the tool, that's a no-brainer to me. Like, that makes sense. When it comes to building this quick app, right? It can make its own website. It's an app. It's gonna be a lead magnet. It's gonna collect emails. It's gonna give somebody a report. Like, that to me, like, that is completely doable. I spent a couple of hours on it. And like I said at the beginning of the call, I was pitched a $5,000 package to do what I was able to make this thing do. And so instead of spending $5,000 on that package, I spent like 3 hours on it. If my agency rate's $190 an hour, I'm out $600. I know that that's quick math. And it might not always math for everybody else. But for me, that's where I'm at with it. So, folks, I'm going to call this one done. Sorry about the camera. So glad to have your feedback and your comments today. I really appreciate you coming. You say that I don't know you, but maybe we should get to know each other. All right, folks, have yourself an absolutely great day, and I'll see you on the Agency Action Show, which I'm recording next. Bye-bye. Oh, let's go over here. Let's do this. Oh.